Welcome back to AI War 2 Beginner Walkthrough. Today we're going to see some of another reason why our strategy recently has not been the best. But before that, a couple questions have come up. One person was asking about the scouting. And, we're getting pretty close here. Alpha's only a couple jumps away from some of these systems we haven't explored, and whether you can do it directionally, influence it to go in a certain direction. And you really can't unless you want to use the hacking option to explore the planet. And we're not going to use that for reasons that will become even more clear in this session. The other question was from Captain Creation, who was asking about custom fleets. Why would you use custom fleets? What's their purpose? But this is a pretty decent time to get to them. If we take a look here at a random fleet that we have, we'll just take Denent. And down here, where we've got the ship lines listed, we can choose to build or not build, as we've seen. And then we have this swap thing. And that brings up this if you select it. And these are in red because that fleet is currently set to attack move, by the way. So we can switch, if we want, any of these with any of the other fleets, mobile fleets that is, that we have. Can switch out the ship line and move them around if you want to organize your fleets with specific ships in them. And essentially one of the purposes of custom fleets is to give you more places to do that in. Like if you filled up all of your fleets and you wanted to get more ships, but you didn't have another fleet to grab, or to make it easier to subdivide your ships, like if you wanted to make a few smaller fleets with specific ship lines to achieve a particular tactical purpose in them, you can do that. So let's take a look at how all of that works. We'll just plop right back down here into Alpha where a lot of our ships are. And if you go to the build menu, then we've got all of these down here. Now, if we look at the workhorse ones, these are exactly the same specs as your standard transport flagships in every respect so far as I know, except for one. Look at the bottom, and there's 7 places where it lists empty slot times 1, empty slot times 1, empty slot times 1, etc. And that's advantage number 1 that customs fleets have. And I should say that they are right now, they're going to be adjustments made. I think they're going to get rid of one of the empty slots. And as I think I mentioned before, transport flagships are eventually supposed to get some upgrade perks with the experience system. But right now, custom fleets are simply superior. There'd be no reason to use actually even a regular flagship over them. They get 7 empty slots, and these standard ones only get 6. So you can put more ships in one fleet, which is beneficial, among other things, for fleet experience, since you wouldn't need as many fleets to accomplish whatever you're doing, and therefore get an experience gain relative to using the smaller ones. Now, then we also have a couple other options. We have the stealth. There's 3 of those as well, and these are the same except they're cloaked. So that would be even better. And then the velocity alpha are not cloaked, but they're considerably faster. They have 2900 speed as opposed to 2200. So, essentially, the way things are set up right now, you want to have, if you're playing optimally, you want to have everything organized in either velocity or stealth ships. And they all cost the same, 360k. Their energy use is the same as your regular ships. So we're going to get one of these faster ones built. And these do take just a bit of time.
Taking fire on Border World.
And all of the engineers coming in to do the job. Okay, and that is now finished. Now let's see what happens now that we have this in place. We've got another fleet, but it's empty. Let's see what happens if we select this and try to go swap again. Notice we have all these empty slots that we can use. And so it just makes it a lot easier to shift things around, in addition to being a slightly superior flagship for the fleet. And we don't have enough ships that we really need to be too concerned with that. But taking a look at the bigger picture again. Now, we're sort of spread out here, and by the way, it's worth noting this is a different icon than this. You've got your homeworld, logistics station, and military station. The economic one, try to build one of those at some point in this game, and they have a different symbol as well. So that's another thing you can use to see like what kind of a system it is, what you've got set up there in terms of which variety of command station. Let's take a look at our mobile strike fleets here over there, though. We're going to ignore that one for now. You can see it's basically 1 strength. If we add all these together, we get 41. And each one that we add does not add that much to it. A few points of strength, but not a whole lot. And at this point, well, actually before this point, a fair bit, the best thing to do is no longer to just simply keep adding more fleets because they don't add that much. And it's going to be very difficult. Like if we take a look at some of these, this was 76 like a long time ago. You know, we're nowhere near really being even with that. And this is 83, and it's actually worse than that. We're going to go investigate exactly why that is at this point. Let's say we were going to upgrade tech again, and we chose the light hull, which we upgraded once before. I just want to take a look at a couple things in here. Now, if you notice the upgrade in the strength, this is 0.05 to 0.08, 0.04 to 0.05, 1 to 2, and generally speaking, these will be at least a quarter more. In other words, at least 25% more the new value will be, and it can be as much as double. That one's only 25%. But I think the most important thing to recognize is the energy use, as we've talked about before. It does not increase at all. And actually, if you take a look at what the difference is, I think that this strength increase significantly undervalues what you actually get. In other words, I think this boost should be higher. Like, see, this one, 0.04 to 0.05. Well, it's got 40% stronger hull, 40% stronger shield. And then it also has a big boost here. This is like a 50% increase in the power of the cannon, and it's got a little bit more damage multiplier. So I think that as you increase in mark level, the strength disparity between is underestimated by the game in general. Take a look at this one. You can see it's a significant amount there. This is a significant increase. Again, about a 50% upgrade in the cannon, and I don't think this properly represents that. I think maybe if it was 0.75 or at least 0.7, it would be right. So sort of disparity increases as you go. And if we take a look at some of these planets that have the Mark V stuff, then they're going to be, stronger and stronger relative to us if we're not coming close to meeting that mark level. You really got to take that mark level into consideration as well. And that's one of the reasons why, because we went into Alpha, we had over 30 strength, I think, mid-30s, something like that, in terms of our fleet. Might have been even higher than that. And they had a strength of 20. And we almost had problems because this was a Mark IV planet, and our ships are not that advanced. So if we look at what we have here, we can see that we're looking at mostly Mark IIs here, a little bit of Mark I and Mark III. Same thing here. Denent, Hildis, Mark I, II, and III, Holer. So in general, we're at roughly Mark level 2. We have some Mark I and some Mark III, and we're trying to deal now with dealing with a lot of Mark IV and Mark V systems. In other words, we are not at the tech level that we need to be. And as we can see from those comparisons of how much you level up with each mark, while getting more fleets has an additive effect or a plus effect, obviously to your total combat strength, increasing technology is a force multiplier. Or another way to look at that is better is going to beat more, all other things being equal. Or you consider an analogy, if you were given a skyscraper design contract. You're an architect. And you've only got a limited amount of land to work with. We know that in the game we have a limited amount of land to work with because if we take too much, AI progress gets out of control. And you need to fit the maximum amount of office space into that area. Well, you're going to be able to build out to a certain point, but most of it is going to be in height, not width, because you're probably going to build a skyscraper if it's a particularly large amount of office space or whatever else it is that you need to put in there. And of course, that's why with modern construction techniques, we build up more than we build out because there's only so much real estate, particularly in urban areas. Switching that back to the game, in order to really escalate enough to take on the tougher targets, it's really essential to highly value increasing your technology level and the mark level of all of your combat units. And so, again, we could target this better, but I'm just going to keep going with the research here, grab another one of these. And then another thing that we want to do is really grab all the tech vaults you can. And if you highly value science as the force multiplier that it is, then it also follows that you're going to want to preserve as much hacking as you can, because one of the ways you can get more science is simply by doing science extractions from the other planets. If we take a look at Presidio here, and you're not going to be able to do a lot of this. If we look at covert science extraction, you can see it gives us 0.5 hacking per second it's going to expend, and then it will eventually consume all of the hacking on that planet for 30 would be the cost. The next one will be 40% more. It would be 30 and then 42 and then 60, and eventually it's going to become prohibitively expensive. But the more hacking you can avoid spending on other things, then the better off you're going to be. Now, it's still far more efficient to use the hacking on the tech vaults. But beyond that, as much as you have of it you can preserve to extract science, then the more acquisition of science you can get without increasing AI progress by taking another planet and so on. And you can upgrade the efficiency of your fighting force tremendously in that way. So essentially what we should be doing now, and actually should have done a while ago, but I wanted to play this out, is grab every tech vault we can. We've got one here, and we've got one here, and we've got one here, and we've got, well, there's one over here, and let's see, there's one up here, and there's close to half a dozen, at least 5, maybe 6, that we have visible right now. And I want to just go ahead and hack a bunch of them, and then just see, where does that put us in terms of upgrading that fleet strength, which is at 41 to start. Where's it going to end up at? And so we'll just move our fleets over in this direction because we don't have any tech vaults over here. Okay, and I think there's really no reason to do these one at a time. Let's see here. Grab this fleet and send them to Dongara. And we'll go ahead and load up everybody in Denent, and we'll send them on soon.
Taking fire behind enemy lines.
There we go. And send them over here. Let's go ahead and knock out a couple of these as quick as we can. And we're in position. There's the tech vault. And we are where exactly? Over here. Okay. Instead of the attack move, I'm going to keep everybody in here. Given this scenario, let's see what our ranges are here. That's got range to here, range to here. Yeah, I think we'll just knock out this. It's got some turrets around it, and then we'll just sort of float over there. That seems to be a reasonable option to me.
Taking fire on enemy world.
Rack 'em
Make sure we knock out that guard post real quick. Or at least not take forever about it. Mark II in here, so it should not be too horribly difficult. I just kind of want to move this way to get away from that guard post, I think.
You bet, sir.
I don't want to kill everything. I just want to move in this general... Everything's clear over here. Then let's just sort of float over here and get out of the way and clear out some of the mess. Okay, so that's one. And just multitasking here just saves a bit of time. And I didn't mean to move both of these over here, but I did. Okay. So we've got a bunch of stuff here. Where is our tech? Tech vault's right there, but we don't need to be by it. Let's see, I probably can just... Just clear out the area, I think, and then go to work that way. I don't think there's much over here, is there? And yeah, if we get off to the edge of the system here, we'll be out of the way. Alright, let's go ahead and hack. Grant technology. Move back to the other one.
Taking fire on enemy world.
And do the same thing
Hackers
here.
are in. Hacking is finished.
Okay, so we now have upgrades to Generalist and Disruptive. We're just going to load up and get out in both systems. And let's see where we want to go next. We could probably get there. It's probably not too far away. This should be a good place to go in the other direction. I don't see any reason not to grab both of those right now. So we will do that. These are not loaded up. So we want to make sure we do that before we leave.
Under attack on...
That should be good. And of course, as a Mark IV system, this one's going to get a little bit more interesting, but I think we'll be all right. I'm definitely going to watch that one more closely. Okay, this is Altis, and yeah, over here we've got some more fun here. I don't think these are that... No, the guard posts are positioned very conveniently here, so I should be able to just move out here and unload. Let's go ahead and clear all that stuff out. Shouldn't be under fire from any guard posts. Let's just go ahead and do this and get this over with. Of course, the other one already underway on Draconi. All of this looking quite good for us at the moment. So as we see the last little bit here, you can see they're building up quite a bit of resistance in here. This one's been a little different. And also, since this is a Mark IV planet, let's look at something else. See, weaken AI guard posts 45, weaken AI turrets 21. On the wimpier planets, these were like 5 and 10 or something like that earlier in the game. So the higher mark planets also require more hacking. And there we go. That is our latest discovery. So we're going to want to load up our ships and get out quite naturally. You can see we built up a significant amount of additional threat doing all this. That's always fun. And then let's take a look at our fleets. And 23, 11, 10, and 10. So altogether that's 54 compared to the 41 we had before. A significant boost, but not a huge one. We can see Mark 1 and Mark 2 here. Hildis has almost exclusively Mark 2 and Mark 3. Donette, again, more Mark 3 than before. And the same thing for Apathy. And we actually have Mark 4 V-Wings. And of course, a lot of this depends on whether you've synced up the tech vaults that are out there to the fleets that you've captured, depending on how much choice you have in that. But obviously, the more those technology types fit with what you're capturing, better off you're going to be. So where from here? Well, it is worth noting that the only tech vault I think we have left is another technologist one, and that's up here. That's a little ways away. And I think we're going to need to do some expanding over here, because we can't expand more over this way. We need more scouting. We need to find something worth capturing in this direction. And sometimes you just want to take another system that's just sort of a stepping stone further into the galaxy, so you don't have to ram your way through a bunch of high mark systems on your way to wherever it is that you're going. On the other hand, there is a path here, and maybe we'll just want to follow this path like up here and grab these systems. This thing here, matter converter, maybe, I don't know. Those plans will need to be formulated, but I think that'll wait till our next session. If there are any more questions out there, feel free to keep throwing them out. Prefer to repeat myself a bit if I need to, rather than leave things unsaid. If you've got a question, probably a lot of other people are wondering about the same thing. Now that we've upgraded a bit, we may have a few more options that are tenable, but clearly much more to go in improving the fighting capabilities of our fleets. We'll decide on a new plan for expansion next time. Till then, thanks for watching. AI War 2 Beginner Walkthrough will continue on.